Welcome back, friends. In the previous session, we discussed on kinds of fire policies and the procedure to take an effective fire insurance policy. In this session, we are going to see policy conditions and claim procedures. Let us see one by one the policy conditions in the standard type of fire policy. Number 1. Non-disclosure of material facts. According to this condition, if there is any non-disclosure or misdescription of any material fact in regard to the property insured, the insurer shall not be liable to pay anything under the policy. In case of any damage or loss to the property of the insured, it is a duty of the insured to disclose completely all the material facts under the principle of utmost good faith. Number 2. Alteration in the property insured. If the insured makes any alterations in the property insured without the knowledge of the insurer, the contract of insurance may be void. Here, alteration means the removal of the insured property from the original place and may not on the part of the insured, which is likely to increase the risk of loss and any other transfer or assignment of any interest in the property without the knowledge of the insurer. Number 3. Fraudulent claim. The policy conditions state that insured should observe complete fairness while lodging the claim after the fire loss. He must not own the property so destroyed or include items which are not covered by the policy. Fraudulent claims are willful destruction of property insured leads to fraud and no compensation will be paid to insured. Number 4. Reinstatement. The insurance company can settle the claim by any manner as they feel fit. They can pay cash or can settle the claim by getting the property repaired or replaced or by reinstatement. Number 5. Right of subrogation. This clause is based on the principle of indemnity. This principle requires that the insured is not allowed to receive more than his actual amount of loss caused to him by fire. If he receives more than the actual loss, he should return to the insurer the excessive amount. The insurer is entitled to exercise the rights on the receipt of the notice of the occurrence of fire. Number 1. It may take possession of the damaged property for assessment of loss. Number 2. The insurance company or insurer is bound to get all possible help from the insured for enforcement of right against third party. Number 6. Principle of contribution. When one person takes out more than one policy with the number of insurers for the same subject matter, then all the insurers jointly liable for the loss assessed and their individual share shall be calculated proportionately. This is according to the contribution clause in the policy. The contribution of each insurer is calculated by using the formula. Contribution is equal to the total amount of loss multiplied by insured amount from that insurer and divided by total insured amount from all the insurers. Number 7. Average clause. Under this clause, the insured is penalized for underinsurance of the property. This clause provides that the amount payable to the insured is proportionately reduced by percentage of underinsurance. The formula for calculation of average loss to be compensated by the insurance company is amount to be compensated is equal to the total amount of loss multiplied by amount insured and divided by the total value of insured policy. Exclusion clause. The fire insurance policy expressly excludes the perils. Number 1, loss by theft during or after the occurrence of fire. Number 2, loss or damage to the property by natural heating or combustion. Number 3, loss or damage occasioned by the occurrence of earthquake, volcanic eruption, cyclone or other atmospheric disturbances. Number 4, loss occasioned by occurrence of war, invasion, act of foreign enemy, etc. or settlement of claims. Before going into claim procedure, let us see some preconditions for claim. While making a claim, a policy holder must aware are 3 essential conditions which should be met before file a claim. Number 1, there must be an actual fire in the insurance premises. Number 2, the fire must be accidental and beyond the reasonable control of the policy holder. Number 3, loss or damage must be due to burning triggered by the accidental fire. The damage by heat or fire, if not accidental, won't be considered as loss due to fire. Hence, insurance is not applicable in such instances. The processing and settlement of claims requires a sound knowledge of number 1, the general and special law of contract, the terms, exception and conditions of the fire and special perils policy. Number 2, the extensions of the policy. Number 3, the special policies and clauses. Duties of the insured towards claim. It is the duty of the insured to observe good faith not only at the pre-insurance stage but also during the period of the policy and especially after the occurrence of a loss. The insured has to act as if uninsured. Apart from notifying the fire brigade, the insured must take immediate steps to extinguish the fire to prevent it from spreading and wherever practicable to remove the property insured to a place of safety to protect the salvage and so on. The other important duties of insured are: give notice of loss to insurer, submit proofs and particulars of loss both as regards cause of loss and extent of loss on their own expenses. The onus of proof of the cause of loss lies on him, so also the burden of proving the amount of loss. Friends, let us see rights of insurers. Insurers make a complete investigation both into the details of the claim and into the circumstances of the fire, and this require taking over and keeping possession of the salvage as also the premises until investigation is complete. These rights are all the more necessary as not all claimants are honest. Hence, wider powers are reserved for insurers under the policy conditions. Under the condition, the insurers on the happening of the loss have certain rights. The condition also provides that no claim under the policy shall be payable if the provisions of this condition have not been complied with. If some property is saved from the loss, that is salvage, the value of such salvage is deducted from the amount of the claim. This is the procedure followed while claiming the compensation of fire losses. Number 1, receipt of claim intimation. On the receipt of a claim intimation, the main step is to be checked by the insurance company whether the policy is in force. Number 2, the items of goods affected are the same as covered under the policy. Number 3, the location involved is the same as covered in the insurance policy. Entering it in the claim register. After verifying the policy, the claim is registered and a claim number is allotted to the insured. The claim number is used for future references. The claim register contains the details of the claim number, date of fire, name of the insured person, the sum of the insured, policy number, the situation of the risk where the loss took place, estimate the value of the loss and the name of the surveyors. This type of columns are required in the claim register. Next, let us see claim form. After register of claim in the claim register, a claim form is sent to the insured person for completing and returning it to the insurance company. In this claim form, the contents are to be mentioned. Number 1, name of the insured. Number 2, policy number. Number 3, address of insured. Number 4, details regarding damaged property. Number 5, date and time of the fire. Number 6, cause and circumstances of the fire. Number 7, value of the property at the time of fire. Number 8, amount claimed after deduction of salvage value. Number 9, situation of the premises in which fire occurred. Number 10, capacity in which the insured wants claim means whether as owner or mortgagee. Number 11, is any other insurance policy is in force upon such property. Number 12, occupancy of the premises in which the fire occurred. The common documents required for claiming file claiming are: number 1, duly certified copy of the insurance policy along with the schedule and endorsement. Duly filled claim form. Next, newspaper report on the incident if there is any photographs. Previous claim experience. Number 4, survey. If the claim is simple and the amount of loss is small, in that case, it is settled on the basis of the claim form, and if the amount of loss is large, then independent loss surveyors are nominated to investigate and report on the cause of loss, extent of loss and compliance with the terms and conditions of the policy. The surveyor's primary duties are: number 1, to investigate into the cause of loss. Number 2, to ascertain the extent of loss. Number 3, to advise the insured on loss minimization measures and the protection of the salvage. Number 4, to advise the insurers on the disposal of salvage. Number 5, to submit a detailed report on the above and other aspects relating to the loss. Next point, discharge voucher. After the formalities, a discharge voucher is sent to the insured for his signature return. On receipt of it, a check in settlement is sent. Recording. Before the check is released, the payment is recorded in the claim register. The payment is also recorded in the relative policy file and the sum insured is reduced by the amount of the claim. The intimation is sent to the insured that the sum insured can be reinstated on payment of proportionate premium from the date of reinstatement of the sum insured to the date of expiry of the policy. The amount of claim payable, a contract of fire insurance is a contract of indemnity. The insurers undertake by the payment of a sum of money as nearly as possible to place the insured in the same position as he was immediately before the fire. The extent of indemnity is therefore subject to two main limitations. Number one, market value of the property affected. The value is calculated taking into account the factors like the value at the time of loss, the value at the place of loss, the real or intrinsic value excluding any sentimental value, depreciation or betterment, prospective profits or other consequential and indirect losses are excluded. Number 2, the sum insured under the policy for the affected item. The policy will pay the sum insured or market value whichever is less in case of total loss. The condition of average will apply for partial loss or damage. Here, value may be defined as the worth of anything in terms of something else for which it can be exchanged either in other goods or in money. Insurance is concerned with the actual, real or intrinsic value of the property. The basis adopted must enable the insured to recover the real value of the property involved in the loss. Within this framework of the policy terms and conditions, the insurer attempts to provide a fair indemnity to the policy terms and conditions. The insurer attempts to provide a fair indemnity to the insured. Next one, regarding the claims, yet a lot of policyholders are left high and dry when their claims are rejected. The most commonly cited reasons being non-compliance of rules and making claims not covered by the policy. I would like to highlight 5 tips to ensure that the claim is not rejected. Number 1, don't trust the agent blindly. Fill your insurance form yourself. Do not let the agent do it for you. Keep a copy of the form and compare it with the policy document. In case of any discrepancy or inaccuracy, notify the insurer. Second tip, don't hide your history. Disclose all relevant facts regarding the history regarding the subject matter. Number 3, provide correct information. State your age, occupation, income and insurance coverage honestly. Do not submit documents with incorrect or incomplete information. Number 4, pay premiums on time. If you don't pay, the policy will lapse. Typically, you can get 15 to 30 days of grace period to pay if you are late, after which the policy will lapse permanently. Friends, we come to the concluding part. Insurance is unfortunately often considered an unnecessary expense by potential buyers, particularly if they are uninformed. It is also seen as a superior good by economists, which becomes regularly and widely available only after many other needs are covered. Into a society, many cases, being uninsured is in the long term the most costly option to an individual, to an economy. This is wrong. Insurance is not an unnecessary expense, but if done right, an investment in the protection of assets. It is not a superior good in the sense that it is a luxury and should only be considered after many other issues. It is often the preconditions for the economic action, and it is intertwined with the most basic human needs and aspirations. The availability of insurance has important positive effects and the externalities that go far beyond the purely financial. Friends, we so far discussed in Unit 3 is all about fire insurance. With this, we are in end of Unit 3. We will meet in the next session. Take care and have a good day. Thank you.